Colin James is one of Australia's leading facilitators and trainers, and I'm excited to tell you that after 23 years of experience, he's now bringing that to speaking and keynoting. Since the early days, from 23 years ago, Colin has now worked all over the world with every industry. His clients simply describe him as the best they've ever encountered, and I've got to say, at Ovations, we're very proud to work with him. Colin James, welcome to 5 Minutes with O.
Thanks, Leanne.
As you know, I have the privilege of being surrounded by hundreds of speakers, but you're one of them that's really made a big difference in my life, and I just want to say I'm very proud to have you here today. Tell us, what is it that brought you to the world of speaking, facilitation and education?
I don't know if you had the similar experience when you were young, but I knew from a very early age what I always wanted to be, which is I wanted to be a teacher. However, life circumstance and everything, and I ended up in the corporate world, and in my 20s I'm a manager of this and running around doing that. And then I got to the age of 30, and I think a lot of people have this experience when they feel like this is not what I'm meant to be doing. And I made the bold step of resigning from my very well-paid role and setting up my shingle and saying, I'm going to become an educator, with no real idea of how it was going to happen or how it was going to transpire. And from that day on, which was 23 years ago, I have now found myself, fortunately enough, to work all around the world with a range of different industries, running education programs, facilitating conferences, and of course keynoting. So I found my niche, and I knew as a child what it was, and now I'm here.
From working with you over the years, Colin, I know when I send you into an organisation, you're really into the long-term change, not the quick fix. How do you do that?
I think the challenge in most organisations is that they are looking for the quick fix. They say, just give me the 3 steps and everything will be fine. And my response to them, of course, is that any change has got to be substantive and it's got to be deep, and therefore it's got to have some time or duration linked to it. And as a result, I have long-term relationships with clients. So it's, we often start with a keynote, which then turns into some series of programs which we then coordinate and run. And then there's internal systems and support and resources that assist the longer-term change. We do live in a world where people are putting a lot of icing sugar on the cardboard box, and they think, it looks nice, but what's the substance? What's the substance? And clearly what you want to do is have both. Something that's a highly impactful, powerful experience, but then supported by depth, weight, and longevity.
One of the things I love about you, Colin, you've done it with me, and you do it in organisations, is that you're actually able to change people's language.
I went to a meeting recently. I won't mention the client, but we sat in the room, and there was about 6 or 7 people there. And the head guy says to me, he says, Colin, I just want to give you a bit of the lay of the land, get you up to speed, get you a sense of what the current state of play is. Because if you're going to step up to the plate here, you need to have an understanding of what the ballpark is. And look, I want to think outside of the box here, because we don't want to go after the low-hanging fruit. Because at the end of the day, going forward, it's about getting the buy-in of all the stakeholders as we create. And I said, what the hell are you talking about? It was this empty rhetoric, it is language without freshness, without zest, and without life. And one of the components that we explore is how to find language that cuts through the blandness, cuts through the noise.
So what are the challenges that are facing leaders today?
I think the word itself presents a challenge. Leadership has become ubiquitous. Everything is a leadership program. Everybody is a leader. Suddenly you're a manager of a small division, you're a leader. And so the word itself has lost any value at a point where it becomes or it carries weight or it carries substance. So leadership it's lost a lot of its identity. So when you think of true leaders, these are the people that shift and change the way people think, the way people feel, and the way they behave. True leaders articulate a vision that compels and facilitates followership. People are drawn towards the leader. The leader becomes the embodiment of the principles, the standards, the ethos, and the message. And those people are rare. So we need to start redefining what leadership truly means, I think, and get it back to the place of, and the status that it deserves, of someone who's at the point of leading people towards something that's going to be better, rather than just managing people.
Think, feel, behave. So I know with those 3 things how you can help affect an organisation positively over a long period of time. And I do recommend clients talk to us about that, because you're clearly brilliant at it. But here and now, I just want to talk about, in a 60-second keynote, how can you affect, think, feel, and behave?
Well, it starts off by making sure that we introduce the narrative of those that have led in the past. So we draw upon the methodology, the thinking, the life philosophy, and the mindset and attitude of authentic leaders. For example, a leader never, ever has a bad day. Now, when people say, oh, I don't know if you've ever met people go, oh, leave me alone, I'm having a bad day.
Right.
And it's the morning. I mean, how do they know what the rest of the day is going to be like? You know what leaders have? They have bad moments, they deal with them, and they keep going at a level of high professionalism. You wouldn't want to be lying on the operating table looking up into your surgeon's eyes and going, what do you reckon, doc? And they go, oh, I don't know, having a bad day. No, clearly not. So in a 60 minutes, what we do is we set the ethos of what it constitutes an excellent leader, behaviorally, attitudinally, in terms of mind and attitude. This becomes the exemplar or the living example of what a leader needs to be, which then allows followership to occur. So in 60 minutes, we describe, define, and give many examples of what true, authentic leadership looks like at the behavioral level, at the intellectual and mental level, and also at the emotional, robust level. And this allows us to provide a platform on which we can build.
You know what? Not many people talk about followership.
Mm.
And I actually love a lot about followership because it's a very important thing, even for leaders. So when you're talking to the whole staff, you know, the kick-off meeting and we're all there together, what's the core message in followership for all of us?
I think followership has got a lot to do with not only the recognition that one of your responsibilities as a paid employee, as a professional is someone who gets paid, is that you've got to make the decision, if I'm going to be part of this organization, then I commit to it. But if I join an organization just for the job and I don't commit to the leadership and the vision, then I'm not being authentic to who I am and what I stand for. And this immediately starts the process of people sliding into negativity, into cynicism, or even worse, into victimhood. So from a leadership point of view, you also understand what a follower needs to be as well. And a good follower, with time, practice, effort, and application, can become a good leader.
With time, practice, effort
and application.
Such brilliance just comes out of your mouth all the time, Colin James. Thank you for spending 5 minutes with O.
Thanks, Leanne.